Today we're going to be working on composition, specifically in Photoshop, in placing your 20 images into 5 separate pages. So our photo, we have our 20 images that you took earlier, numbered 1 through 20. Our canvas size is going to be 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 10, whichever you prefer. The DPI is 300. You're going to place 4 images on a page and you're going to label all compositional elements, and you're going to submit a total of 5 pages. The file format is 01_C for composition _last name _first name .jpeg. And you're going to make 5 in total. We have student examples we can see here from Fabian Aguilera. He has them all on one page. Also notice there's no white space, so no white space can show. We want to see the image in the entire frame. And we want a consistent numbering and labeling between your images. So let's go ahead and take a look. And we're going to be using student Chanel Arrigueta as an example. Here we can see her images. We're in Bridge right now. Here are 20 images. All of them are photographed horizontally except for one, which is a vertical or a portrait format. So this is important to know. Ideally, you were to photograph in either horizontal or landscape all images. It'll make it much easier for you in Photoshop. But if you didn't, that's okay, because we're going to fix that. So we're going to go ahead and open up Photoshop. I already have it open, so I go File, New. And here is my new document dialog box. And I'm going to put in 10 by 8 and horizontal. You can do 8.5 by 11, whatever you want. I'm choosing 8 by 10 because it's easier with math. So I'm going to press Create. Here is my 8 by 10 canvas. First thing I'm going to do is press Command R. That brings our rulers, Command R. Or we can go to View, Rulers down here at the bottom to see it. So either way, at the left side, I'm going to pull out a guide for halfway. So remember, our page is 8 by 10. And so I'm going to split the other guide. I just drag from the top and pull down, and I have my guide. If you're in Photoshop, you should also have Bridge. And here's our first image we have of Chanel, the first one we're going to use. I can literally drag it right into Photoshop if I wanted. So here I am. And then there's that way. Another way, which if you don't have Bridge, is to go File. And you want to make sure that you actually are in Bridge. I mean, in Photoshop, because right now I'm in Bridge. So I'm going to click onto this Photoshop page, go File, Place Embedded. We don't want linked. I'm going to choose my file. So give me a second. Excuse me. And we're going to click on the first image. Now, have you noticed, if I hold down the corner, I can get the image right to the edge, right? But remember, we're not going to show any white space. So I'm going to pull it all the way to the right. Unfortunately, that means we're going to have to crop some of the image. So what we have to do is work and create a mask. So I have my image. You're happy with the location. Realize the image on the right side past the blue teal line or cyan line will have to be covered up somehow. So I'm going to double click on the center, and now it is accepted. But it's overlapping into the other plane, right? Into the other area. So what I'm going to do is select our rectangle marquee tool, or quick key M. It's the second tool on the right side. So here I go. And we're working in layers. If you don't see your layer, no worries. All you have to do is go Window, Layers. Now my layer has disappeared. To bring it back, I go Window, Layers. and I have selected my layer. One thing about Photoshop, we're working in layers. We have a background layer and our layer for our image is coming in. Here's our background. I turn on the eyeball, and on the second layer, I turn on the eyeball and we can see our diagonal lines. And I have my selection that lines up perfectly with my guides. And all I have to do is press the third icon at the bottom of the layers page. And now I made a mask. That area on the right side has totally disappeared. Let me go ahead and do this again. So I'm going to go File, Place Embedded, choose my second image, and then Place. I'm going to move my layers out of the way. And I'm going to line it up to the corner and then drag it from the left side in. Once again, remember we can't have any white space. So I'm going to line it up to the bottom and move it around. Once again, we have an overlap this time on the left side, but that's not a problem because we're going to fix that and create a mask. And I'm going to double click to accept that area. Then I use my marquee tool, Quick Key M. Make sure to select your layer that is turned on and activated. If I go to the next, if I activate the bottom layer, it's not going to make the mask. You have to turn it on and select it. And then I press the mask. And let's do our third image, which I believe is called the S-curve. And I go File, Place, Embedded. And then we have the S-curve. This one's going to be really tricky, but it's a good example. So you can see this is going to be a problem because it's a vertical image on a horizontal plane or canvas. So that's not going to work. So what do I do? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it, make it even. If I hold down the space bar, it'll make it straight. And I know aesthetically, it's not the best thing we could do, but you know, we're going to make it work. And then, so what I did is I rotated it. Let me do that again. So I'm just going to delete it. File, Place Embedded. And you can see here my double-sided arrows. I'm going to rotate it, hold down the Shift key. Hopefully that'll make it straight. Then I'm going to place it in my corner. Pull it in a little bit. And there's our S-curve. Although ideally, you know, it's up, you know, it's sideways, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and place our last image, which should be a triangle. So let's see if Chanel got the right ones. So File, Place Embedded, V. So she has a V arrangement. So she has a triangle. Number 5 is a V arrangement. So I think they're just out of order. We're going to go ahead and let me see. I can make it a V arrangement, right? How would I do that? So how do I do that? I would just have to rotate it around. And now it's a V arrangement. It's no longer a triangle. Oh, actually, no, I'm so... Number 4 is triangle. All right, so that's a V, and then we turn it upside down, and now we have a triangle. All right, so now I have to make it smaller. I'm going to click onto the corner, bring it to the top. I mean, you kind of have to finagle this. It's not perfect. And I think that might be the best we can do because we don't want to see any white space. Double click to make it, to accept it. Bringing back my layer. palette, I'm going to select the layer called number 4. Actually, they call that layer 5. So I'm going to turn it off and on. Then I select the marching ants or the marquee tool, mask, and now we have placed our images without any white space. I want to continue in the next video on naming.